Welcome to the Rider Guys. I'm Larry, this is Liam. Game 2 of the 2017 season just finished a few days ago. Another loss, disappointing, double overtime, 43-40 loss at the hands of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Not a great way to christen the new beautiful stadium. By the way, it looked incredible on television, sounded awesome. By far the best facility in the Canadian Football League, hands down. You fans there, I think, made everybody proud. It looked great, and we definitely have the stadium that's the envy of the rest of the league. Getting to the game, probably a good thing we've waited a couple days to talk to you because we were and still are pretty pissed off with what happened, as I'm sure a lot of Rider fans are. What do you think, Lee?
Another kick that could have, tied the game. Well, potentially tied the game because Hamilton still had a drive to go after, even if we did make the kickoff.
Turns out they didn't convert it, so they just got a field goal.
We had too many blown coverages. That was a killer. There were 2 touchdowns to Weston Dressler where it was like nobody was around him for 20 yards. Nobody was near him.
They were both embarrassing.
And especially the one where he caught it in the end zone there. It was like, you even called it, you were like, wide open Dressler in the end zone.
You could see it happening.
And it was like...
Our safety was looking over, and then he just completely ignored him and went to the left side, and Dressler's like, nobody's on Dressler. You could see it. I called it even before the ball was snapped. Dressler, there's no one covering him. And he went straight into the end zone, was wide open. It's unacceptable. And what makes me angry is that it's the same thing week in, week out, and it was like that last year, and I'm getting a little bit frustrated. Chris Jones, I mean, you're supposed to be a defensive mastermind, and yet we have every game, we have these blunders where these guys are just making stupid plays in the defensive backfield. You dismantled our team, and we built it from scratch. I think everybody, took last year with it was a tough pill to swallow, but we all dealt with it. We're expecting bigger and better things this year, and we've started off exactly the same way. I don't know about the rest of Rider Nation, but I'm pissed off, and I want to see the Riders not only win, but I think that we're due to kick somebody's ass for.
I actually saw a thing on Instagram, and it was what Chris Jones said, and he was just talking about how Carpina is going to be our kicker. He just said that he just needs some time to kind of get used to everything. He said he's at 85 to 86%.
Which he is.
Guy.
He's a good kicker.
But I mean, you can't be missing the kicks that are potentially game-winning, game-tying kicks. You can't do that.
Not what, 33-yarders or whatever it was. You can't miss 33-yard field goals. Not in double overtime. If it's second quarter and you happen to put one off the upright, stuff happens. I get that. But when it's double overtime and the game is on the line, and it's on the line, in the Canadian Football League, when you go into overtime, you have to at least get a field goal. If you don't, it's pretty much game over. Not too often do you get another chance to redeem yourself. It happens once in a blue moon.
And because you start on the 40-yard line, the offense starts on the 40-yard line, it's kind of like there's going to be a field goal. Like, you're not... unless your kicker misses, you're not going to score points unless your kicker
You've got to get a field goal. No matter what, you have to get a field goal if there's a touchdown. Towards the end of the game, I was a little bit more pleased with what the defense had to offer. In the fourth quarter, they kind of shut them down a little bit, and we had a bit more of a pass rush. We started off really good, and then late in the second quarter and in the third quarter was a complete nightmare. I just don't understand it. I don't understand how we can shut down an offense for as long as we do and then just fall asleep like that, where guys are... It's not that even that Winnipeg's receivers were making fantastic plays. They were just missed, blown calls. They were complete busts, and guys were wide open by 15, 20 yards. Like, Wessler was so wide open on both his touchdowns. It's just unacceptable. Shouldn't happen at this level of football, and I think it is unacceptable, and we got to do something about it. I'm getting tired of hearing the same thing that, well, if it wasn't for a couple plays, we would have been okay. Same thing with Kevin Glenn. Kevin Glenn had, all intents and purposes, Kevin Glenn had a pretty darn good game, almost, 400 yards. I think he threw for 4 touchdowns, but 2 picks. And the one he threw to, what's his name there, the ex-Rider, Sam Hurl. He threw it right to him. You got to see that guy. I mean, and I'm not putting the blame on Kevin Glenn. I don't believe that this game was his fault by any stretch of the imagination. I think he did shoulder the blame after the game, and I think he played rather well. But you take away those 2 interceptions, and potentially it's a different game.
I kind of thought that our offensive play calling by McAdoo was awful. in my opinion. There were times where it was like 2nd and 12 and we were doing a dish pass. Like there was a time with the Riders where we weren't doing enough of the short yard passes and the dish passes, but now you're doing dish passes on 2nd and 12.
What do you mean by dish pass?
Like a dish pass, meaning like, you know, when a guy comes out and you just dish it off, it's like a 2-yard pass. Or
where he's
even
catching
in
it
the
basically at the
backfield.
line of scrimmage or behind
Like,
the
yeah,
line of
it's
scrimmage.
like he's either catching it in the backfield or he's catching it on the line of scrimmage, and it's like you're doing that and you have 12 yards to go. That play can break for lots of yards, but you can't risk that play. You can't gamble running that play on 2nd and 12.
And I mean, it's just so frustrating because the week before we score 16 points, they score 17. This time we score 40 points. When you score 40 points in any league, I don't care where you are, you should be winning. You should be winning games. I'm getting a little bit frustrated. I'll tell you what, our picks right now of the team making the playoffs aren't looking great. I know that we're only 2 games in. It's an 18-game season. We got 16 more games to go, but we need to see something. We got a tough schedule coming up. We play Hamilton this week. We play Calgary the week after in Calgary. You know that that's going to be a tough game. Calgary hasn't lost in over a year. They didn't lose a game all last season, and they won their first one there this year. So we're going to be in tough that game. Touch on?
I just want Bo Levi Mitchell to get hit. That's all.
We gotta get to Bo Levi Mitchell. I don't care. It seems like, and I don't know whether maybe I'm way off on this, and I wish that people would comment on this as well. But it seems like, you know, we're not bringing the house a whole lot. Chris Jones's defense in the past, I always thought were super aggressive. A lot of blitzing. I'm not seeing that as much anymore. When we were just basically rushing 3, maybe 4 guys, Nichols was just sitting back there and he was picking us apart, and then we had some blown coverages to add on top of that. If we only rush 3 guys or only rush 4 guys and we don't bring anything different against Bo Levi Mitchell, he is going to absolutely pick us apart. We're getting past ourselves here because we got Hamilton first next week. I think that legitimately we got a good shot. Hamilton didn't look so great against Toronto. I think they had the bye week this week, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
So they're coming off of a bye. Hopefully we can get them a little bit flat-footed, a little bit unprepared. I don't know. I was thinking that was going to happen against Winnipeg, and look what happened. So it's probably, like I said, a good thing that we waited a couple days before we did our vlog here, because we probably would have lost our minds. That night, it completely ruined my night, most of the next day. And maybe that's taking it a little too seriously, but like we said before, we bleed green. We take our Rider football. We're passionate about it, and we think that we deserve better. And our team was completely dismantled. I think everybody stood by and put our trust in Chris Jones. It's damn time that we started to see some results, and I'm getting tired of the excuses. I want to start seeing some W's. I want to start seeing some wins. It'd be nice if we kick somebody's ass for a change. We haven't done that in a long time. And I guess we'll see what we've got this week, but we're expecting and hoping and wanting more, and I think all of Rider Nation is as well.
Just do something this season other than winning 5 games. If we have another five game winning season, it's gonna be
That's not going to sit well. I don't think Chris Jones will have a job at but mind you, they gave him the keys to the city, so who knows? So
fans
we'll
will
see.
be out for his head in Regina. They'll be out for his head if he doesn't if we don't start winning. And you know, there's a point where you can't always blame it on the coach, and there's a point where you can't always do that. But when it comes to how bad, like, it's like our defense will play good the first quarter. Partway through the second quarter, they're good. And then the next part of the second quarter and all of the third quarter, they're trash. And they let these touchdowns happen, and they let all this happen, and that ends up killing us. There was that one kickoff.
Well, the fumble, that was just bad timing.
If that didn't happen, we would have won the game.
It almost seems like we're cursed. It's like we've pissed off the football gods or something, and we're paying the price now big time because we can't seem to catch a break. And I don't know what it's going to take for the Riders to turn this around, but it almost seems like we're going to need to have something lucky happen, pull out a win for our guys to gain some confidence, because I do think that we've got the talent on this team to be better than an 0-2 team. And I know that they've been both close games and they've come down to a kick, and we could easily be 2-0, but we're not. We're not. We're 0-2. And we need something to change, and we need something to change fast.
But what really sucked is that with Winnipeg, is that the game started off and, you know, everybody thought, oh, you know, we're doing good in that right now. defense is playing good and offense is playing good at the same time, which hasn't happened in a while because all last season it was on and off with each other. If the defense is playing good, offense
One or the other all the time.
If the offense was scoring,
Yeah.
defense was letting like open coverage touchdowns, right? We have a team that could be a playoff contending team with all the talent we have on our team, but we like it's just nobody's consistent.
It's just stupid mistakes. It's doing things at the wrong time that are costing us, and it brings back too many memories of how it was in those stretches in the 80s and parts of the 90s when the team was just terrible. They would just invent new ways every week to lose football games, and that just seems to be what we're doing right now. And we're better than that. The fans deserve better than that. Yep.
Hawley's out.
Caleb Hawley is out.
Caleb Hawley is
Yeah.
out.
Remember that trivia question.
Hawley.
First touchdown in the regular season game at New Mosaic Stadium, Caleb Hawley. That was one nice thing. At least the game started off. We had a few good moments there of some positivity for the first half of the first quarter, and it was enough to get everybody excited. And
Well, we were looking like we were gonna win that game. It was looking like it was. Gonna
didn't
be
it look
okay.
awesome on TV though?
It did look awesome.
It looked great. That stadium looks absolutely
And they were
amazing.
saying on the TV, they were saying that it's going to be a recruitment technique because players are going to want to come to Saskatchewan. That's if they do good. Players are going to want to come because of the facility that they have. It's like that's a amazing facility.
It's
they
state
have.
of the
It's
art.
like,
But you got
it's
to win
like
games.
The stuff that they have, exactly. Like along with the nice stadium, if the Riders can be a good team, they could have some really good players wanting to come.
We
and play
could
for
build
Saskatchewan.
something and have some longevity, and why can't we have 10 years in a row of dominance like we've had to sit and watch here in Calgary? I mean, since Huffnagel's come here, the Stampeders, I don't even know if they've missed the playoffs. I don't think they have. Now, maybe they haven't won as many Grey Cups as they probably should have, but every single year they're a team to be reckoned with. Why the hell can't we have that? Why? That's the question I ask. We have waited so many years.
It's bad luck.
We have a few good years, and then what? Now we got to have 2, 3, 4 crap years again? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I want us to have 10 or 15 years of longevity where we're a dominant team. Edmonton's done it. Calgary's done it. BC's there every year.
But with BC, it's like, they were kind of decent, and then Jennings comes along, and it's like, boom, some just clicks in everybody's head.
But BC's
they're just like, they just go off. And
BC's a quarterback factory, though. That they've always been competitive. They always are. They have the odd bad season, but they don't string 3 or 4 bad seasons together. And I don't understand why it has to be different.
They have 2 quarterbacks on their team that are starting, that could be Travis Lulay could be a starting
Of course
quarterback.
he was before Jennings. Yeah.
And now,
Game this weekend, Hamilton. Hopefully it's packed and everybody's loud and proud. We'll be watching again on TV, and we'll catch you on the flip side of that game. Until then, go Riders.